Oh, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. How is it Thursday? I feel like we only saw each other like literally like hours ago. How on earth has we got to Thursday? Right. Do you know, I feel actually moderately prepared today, despite half an hour ago not having a clue what we were going to do. Let's just get you set up there, and we're going to need the pen display today. A lot of shading. I've got a really cool idea. This is going to be fun. Okay, right, where's my music? Has anyone else upgraded to the new Mac OS? I don't know how you say it, so please don't laugh at me. Is it Tahoe? Tahoe? I'm gonna go Tahoe, and you can then laugh at me and tell me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I want to know what people think to it. I got a few thoughts. I think the glass kind of looks cool, but I think the UI is a bit overcomplicated and could be simplified somewhat. Hey, Marina, good to see you again. Kerry. Am I early? Am I? I don't think I am, but I'll take it. Dansky means dance. Dance. Dansky. Dansky. Okay, right. Stop clowning around, Dan. Oh. Hey, Pixel. What's up? What is up? Right, I think I got everything set up. Coffee. Poppy and the kids have gone out for a bit, so we've got some bit of peace and quiet. Got some time to focus, which is, oh, rather delightful. How's everyone's week going? Hopefully you're all good. Right. Oh, yes. Yes, without changing his face. Oh, company computer IT pushes it out. I have 3 hours left. Oh, okay. I gotta be honest, Moosh. I just saw your comment about the macOS update. Like, personally, I prefer the light mode to the dark mode. I think there's some strange choices with dark mode. It's not that bad. I feel like, I think someone might have said it. Maybe it was Paul that, or someone in the comments. I can't remember. I see a lot of stuff that said that it's one of those things that it's weird at first, but then I'm sure in a few weeks it will just be normal. But I think there's just a few things in particular that, yeah, just seem a little bit odd. I don't know. I'm using something called Bartender as well, which is like an add-on you can get that lets you control your menu bar. So you can I've used it to hide all these icons, which is quite nice because you can clean it up. By the way, this should be default in Mac OS. You shouldn't need a third-party plugin. You know, Windows has this to be able to hide all this stuff up top. The fact that Mac OS doesn't have it, like, what are you doing, Apple? Come on. But Bartender is pretty good because you can customize the layout and you can hide stuff. This new update's still a little bit buggy because it's only just come out. But the reason I was mentioning it is there's a thing where you can choose the menu bar style. So you can change the color, you can have a gradient, glass, classic bar. So I do really like that. You can control a degree. I mean, whoa. You see that flickering? No idea. Like I say, still a bit buggy, but it's quite cool because you can adjust a lot of stuff related to the menu bar. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, haven't missed a day, Kerry. Although my Fitbit died this morning, which was really annoying. So I've missed out on today's steps. I'm at like 900 now. So after this stream, I've got to go and do like a humongous walk, which I'll be honest, I'm not looking forward to. Hey, Christopher from New Jersey. How's it going? Yes, the new macOS. It's not too bad. I slept on it, and it's all right. It's fine. It's okay. I feel like it's one of those things as well. You know, you got to upgrade at some point because otherwise the software and that will be updated. Adobe stuff's going to be tailored more to up. Do you know what I mean? it's going to be optimized more for the new OS, so you're better off, I think, just ripping the band-aid off. I know a few people are going to stay on Sequoia, and I'm definitely going to keep that on my Mac Mini. But the Mac radial wallpapers. Ooh, what is a radial wallpaper? Is that like a new thing? I don't know what that is. In fact, I couldn't even tell you what the new features are. Apart from the whole glass thing and glass, liquid glass, I couldn't really tell you what the whole thing is. Oh, hang on. Right. Okay. Tahoe. Is it? Oh, okay. So both my guesses are wrong. That is the Native American word anyway. Tahoe. Tahoe? Oh my goodness. Is that actually how you say it? I would never have guessed that. Oh, so it could be a Sequoia update. Oh no. Huh. Okay, right. Let's do some stuff. So basically, yeah, if what you can see on screen is, I think it's like a depiction of an oni. If anyone's kind of schooled up on their Japanese mythology, you know, you'll probably know a lot more than me. But I think this is like the sort of, you know, in like Japanese culture and mythology and history and things, you get those kind of masks, those terrifying looking masks. And I think it's based on an oni, which is like a Japanese demon, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. But the reason this came about is me and Poppy were talking about doing a Halloween competition, and then the conversation was, "Oh, we're gonna have to do another music video, and then we need a song, and what are we gonna do this, and then what are we gonna do?" And we were just throwing ideas around. And then I had the idea, and then we were saying, you know, should we call it Monster Ski every year, or should it be something different? And then we were talking about the idea of, because I'm really into like a lot of Japanese things in general at the minute. And I had this idea of then getting an Oni mask from Amazon. So we were looking at all these different masks and could we use it to create something, you know, throwing ideas around. And then for some strange reason, I don't know why, I just decided to illustrate it. So let me just grab, this is the original image. This, apart from the rope, I don't like the rope, but the actual mask itself, I think it's like, it's just black and it's plastic, and the red glow on the side, it was just like, oh wow, this is really cool. This is cool. Yeah. Koch. Yeah, really interesting. So we were just kind of looking at this, and then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to just trace over it and do an illustration for no particular reason. So I'll show you briefly in a minute how I did the line work, but then what we're going to do is take this version on the right, and we're then going to drop it into Photoshop and do some shading. And this is even if you don't want to do this or you don't like this illustration, the technique is going to be pretty cool. So I already did the line work and then live painted it. So we'll speed run that and then we'll get into the Photoshop side of it, and just see what we can do with it. So let's get some music on. Demon Ski, yeah, I don't know. Tahoe. Oh. Spooky ski. Yeah. Honestly, the tracing is so easy to do, so I think you'll like this. So sometimes when you're doing a design, tracing over something and getting the main shapes and forms, it doesn't have to be like a demon mask like this. It could be anything. If you're doing a piece of graphic design and you need an illustration, but you're not an illustrator per se, you can still create cool graphics. It could even be a product, or kind of like what you did, Raquel, you know, on the menu design. I don't know how you created that, but if it was me, I would take a photo of the store, the outside, and do this same technique and then do the line work over the top, and you could create an illustration. And then obviously, I don't know how you did it, but if that's what you did, you traced it, exactly, because then you get like a true to life trace, so it's more accurate, but then you also get an illustrated version of the outside of the cafe, which looks amazing. So it's a really cool technique to be able to bring into your design work. So, you know, if you want to trace something, don't be afraid of tracing it. Yeah. Like I did it. Oh, I've got a design years ago. I need to grab some of these old designs and show you because they're so cool and they're so fun to see my old work. But I had my World of Warcraft character. We're going back 20 years now. And blood elf paladin called Lilexia, I think. And I posed the character. Obviously took a crappy low res screenshot because the graphics weren't great, but then brought it into Illustrator and then traced over it and made this really cool illustration of my paladin blood elf. And I've still got that somewhere. So if you're not a drawer like me, then you can be a tracer. And you can show the menu to our friends. Oh, cool. Right. And I must not forget to do the hangers thing because I said I'd help him. So ooh, that's Andrea's hand. Sorry, I just jumped on the Discord. I just saw a hand. Right, where am I? Yeah, let me just grab the menu. I'll show people what I'm talking about. Where is it? Where is it? There we go. In fact, I don't think we've even shown this, have we? This would be cool. So, for anyone who was on the stream the other day where we went through the menu, let me just show this. Menu. Da, 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 da. So this is Raquel's version of the menu. So we've got the inside. So instead of just being like a single-sided sheet, we've got it split into 3 columns. So it kind of folds and then folds into a square effectively. So we've got more logical pricing. You can see how much easier this is. It's just so much easier to read. We've got the currency sign, which is great. This is just so much easier to digest, you know. You can immediately jump. Food on the left, drinks on the right. Stuff in the middle. But then the illustration. So this is Raquel's logo. Raquel, is this custom drawn lettering as well? I feel like this is custom lettering. But correct me if I'm wrong. And I love this. It fits with the mark as well. That's Raquel's take on it, which is super cool. But then this is the illustration of the outside of the actual place as well. So that this technique could be used for something like this. I'd love to see this printed. This would look so good. There was a big drama with esports weapon skins due to tracing. I don't know anything about that. I think it depends on I think it's like anything. If you work for a certain company and you're tracing that company's IP, then you should be all right. But if you're tracing something that you don't own, then that could be a problem. And it also depends how particular the company is, you know. Like, you know, put it this way: you trace Mario and try and include that, Nintendo's going to come after you. They're very protective about that. Oh yeah, I didn't even see that. Was that on the actual menu, Raquel? Head chef Toru Yunada. Was that actually on the menu? That's really cool. I don't think I've ever seen a menu do that. Hey Gorav, how's it going? Oh, thanks for stopping by, Kyle. Hi, bye. Drive by, hello. It's got a style as well, like clearly with the redesign of the existing logo, everything. Raquel's leaned into this kind of linear style, this illustrative style, whereas the other menu is just, you know, text on well, it's just plain, really, isn't it? Yeah, maybe we should, Moosh. Maybe we should do a Halloween menu or something. Oh, right. So it was on the menu. Marina says it was on the menu, but you couldn't see it. Okay. I certainly didn't notice it at all. But yeah, nice touch. Right, I said I'd do something for Vihanga as well. So this is a photo. It wants me to cut this person out and upscale. So we're going to use select subject. We should get a pretty decent selection with the new selection features. We've lost an ear. We don't want to lose an ear. So the image isn't as high quality as it could be, which is probably why we're going to need to do the upscale. So, in fact, I feel like the Photoshop beta has introduced a feature that is upscaling natively in Photoshop. I don't know if I've got that in the current version. God, this selection is being a fiddly customer, isn't it? To put it politely. Let's just quickly speed run around the edges, make sure we've not chopped off anything that we shouldn't be chopping off. Oh, looks pretty good. You could refine this a little bit. We'll just chop in there. Little t-shirt ripples. Hair, skin. Right, okay, cool. So we're just gonna, we will mask that. We're then going to select this. We're going to crop, file. We're going to export as a PNG. This will have transparency with it. Bush. And then we want to go to Envato. And image edit. So we'll upload the image. What did I call it? Got no idea. There we go. WhatsApp. We'll do that. Super simple. You can remove the background as well, but I've done it myself. We're going to upscale. And I would probably go around and pen tool this anyway. So the edge is a very quick selection tooly. Vihanga, I would pen tool this and then, you know, properly do the hair. You're going to get a much better edge, but hopefully this will at least enhance the actual detail a little bit. Yeah, so the edge is a bit soft and fluffy. You'll need to pen tool this dude and then give the hair a proper cutout treatment. Where are you? Where are you? I'm gonna chuck it in the main chat just because I can't find your message right now. But there you go. I'll send you an invoice now. $1 million. Anyway, back to oh, is it? It's terrible. I've just literally downloaded the new Photoshop beta and Illustrator beta. For Tahoe, however we're going to say it. No, I've not even got around to Nano Banana. I've not even got around to it. What is it? Is it like is it just like the ability to edit AI stuff? I think they've got that on Envato as well. Right, so what I did with this mask, I'm using a pen display, which does make it easier, but you can do this with a mouse and a trackpad. So first of all, just drop the opacity down, and then we're going to lock this layer. We'll do it from Object, Lock, Selection. Grab the pencil tool, double click it. You can bump the smoothness all the way up. I'd keep it at the midpoint because there's certain bits that you don't want to be perfectly smooth. And if it auto smooths something, it can be a bit annoying. Whereas if you keep it in the middle, it's going to be a balance between accurate and smooth, but then you can smooth bits out with the smooth tool after. So these are my settings. Keep selected and edit selected paths you want these on. So I'll start with the trackpad and then I'll show you how quick it can be with the pen display. So we've got default black, pencil tool. And all right, let's do this with the trackpad. All you got to do is just start tracing. Now you can see my hand. Look at this. You see how shaky this is? Oh, it's terrible. So now we can just redraw over this and it should, hopefully, it should reshape that. There we go. So you can just keep going until you get it nice. Pretty good. And then it's kind of hard to see the detail here. I think I did bump the opacity up in the end. So it is trickier with a trackpad. Now, because this is symmetrical as well, what I did was just start your first line, select it, object, repeat, and mirror. There's no point doing this twice. And we'll move the center point to the very middle. It's important that you get this in the right place here, so let's just adjust it there. It's not quite central, but in fact we can, yeah, let's get it central. Even if it's not the same here, it doesn't matter. We've only got to do 1/2. So then as you draw, you start to see it all come together. If you've got like a sharp point and you've got the smoothness up, like a sharp point. Oh, that's not too bad. Yeah, sometimes it can auto smooth too much when you do different points. So if you don't want to do that, what you can do is click and drag, stop, let go of the mouse or trackpad, and then click and drag again. And that will guarantee you a perfectly sharp point, but everything will stay connected. So doing this now, it is kind of hard to see actually. Let me just unlock it. And oh, there it is. Let's bump the opacity up because I can't really see the detail. So we've got to go back into the mirror repeat group. And then what we can do is we can just draw all this detail. So we're just freehanding this, connecting at the middle point. We don't want to like go over that line because it will double it up. You know, and obviously you can take a lot longer, make this more precise. I'm just speed running this bit to show you how I did it. There we go. Like, you really don't have to take long on this. Just to get all the details in. Around there. Just remember to stop at that center point. That's terrible. We'll try that again. There we go. And then very quickly, this sort of stuff is super easy. So very quickly, you can just kind of get this looking good. Now, what you'll need to do afterwards is you've got to zoom in, outline mode with Command or Control Y, because a lot of this isn't going to connect up. So then what you can do is grab that direct selection tool and just snap these points together like this. So we want all the line work connected, and then you can join up paths. So you just got to go around here, refine everything, smooth things out. So, you know, you might look at this bit and go, that's not smooth enough. You can redraw it with the pencil tool, or you can grab your smooth tool. And we can just do this. We're not going for perfect, super clean geometry here because of the nature of the shape. So we can just, you could pen tool this, but I promise you that if you're, especially if you're working, oh, what is that little curl? It's cute. But no, if you're working on like a pen display, the pencil tool is going to give you the edge here. The speed is going to be like a massive, massive win to go through this and just connect all those points up. Yeah, like here as well. I mean, look at that. That is pretty crap, but that's fine. We can just go through and refine it, or we can redraw it, or we could just get rid of it and go, do you know what? That bit there, that does need the pencil tool. And then we just do that and we get much better line work. So pencil tool, pen tool, smooth tool makes this whole process, especially with the repeat as well, super, super easy. So let's come out of outline mode with Command or Control Y. I've gone into tutorial mode now. So there we go. There's the line work. You can still adjust all the properties for the stroke, all that stuff. And once you're like, keep this copy so you can go and edit it if you need to, copy and paste another version and then expand it. So we'll just expand this. All this does is this is going to expand the repeat group. So the whole symmetry thing, that's not going to work anymore. But one thing you must do. This is what I hate about this. Is what I hate about this stupid repeat group thing. What it does is it creates a box, like a bounding box. This will cause you all sorts of problems unless you grab the direct selection tool and just select this invisible box on both halves and delete it. So you see it doesn't change anything, but we're just getting rid of that weird bounding box, and now you are just left with the line work. So then all of this stuff in the middle, it's probably not going to line up. So we've just got to select object, path, average. This will pull them together, and then Command or Control J to join them together. So it's really just a case of just connecting all these points up along that center line. And then all this stuff as well, you know. Obviously, if you go doing it now, you're not going to get the symmetry on the other side. So if you do go and refine this half, what I would say is you want to delete this side, make your changes, and then reflect tool it over. So you can still refine it, but you're just not going to have the benefit of the mirror effect. Or you just grab all this again, and then you go back into object, repeat, mirror, and you have another crack at it. And then once you've got the line work and you've got it all joined up, you go to the tool I can't find, the paint bucket tool, and you click to make it a live paint group. And then I've done this with black and white, and you can just start adding color. All of this stuff here isn't a closed path, so to get live paint to work, you've got to have your paths closed, and mine, they're not at the moment, but you see as soon as you close it, boom, you can pop a color in it. And it's literally that simple. And you go through and do all of that for the whole thing, and then you end up at this point. So I don't know what your thoughts are on this. This might look impressive. If it does look impressive and you think, oh, I could never do that, yes, you can. It's super easy. You just got to trace it, get the line work, connect everything up so the paths are connected, there's no gaps, and then just live trace it, and then throw in some solid colors. So that's a speed run through that first part of the process. That I ended up doing this yesterday. I don't even know why. I kind of did all this and then looked at it and was like, and back to some actual work now, Dan. So I don't really know why I did this, but it looks kind of cool. But we're going to make this look even better today. I cannot wait to get into Photoshop. The difference this is going to... like if you do vector illustration and you want to explore how you can add a bit more depth and dimension or a different style in Photoshop, you're going to flip and love this. So let's... first of all, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this rubbish over here. Goodbye, Artboard 3. We will have a copy of this. We'll bump the opacity up so I can see the detail. I'm just going to add a bit more detail in because now I'm going to bring this into Photoshop and I know what I'm going to do. I want to add some more detail. Right, I need some music as well. Okay. I still can't get used to my volume. Every time I adjust the volume, I look dead center on the Mac, and now it's up in the top right corner. I still can't get used to that. Beta upsizing isn't very good. Oh, okay. Gigapixel. Never heard of it, but that's interesting to know. Thank you. Your pen tool saved hours of my life. Oh, cheers, David. Yeah, we're actually going to get rid of the strokes, and we're gonna shade it. So what I'm going to do now is take my version, and we're going to add some details manually that I could see on this. This thing is terrifying. This is terrifying. I need to learn more about the history of these these Japanese masks and where they come from and what they're based on. Super interesting. So we're going to just add a little bit more detail. And I don't even have to follow this. You know, now I've kind of set the basis, and you can do this as well. Once you've got like a base and you've got, say, the facial features, you could then go in and do whatever you like. So let's do something like this. It definitely helps having an idea of what I'm going to do now. Yeah, okay, so I definitely... Right, so because I'm going to shade this, I don't want any lone line work. We don't want any line work just on its own, because it's going to end up like this. So we're going to have to make this all closed paths. We're going to double this up, do something there. I think the eyes, we might be able to make them glow, so we'll leave them for now. These parts here, do I want to curve them slightly? A little bit, maybe? And these, oh, I wish I could rotate the canvas like you can in Photoshop. It's not as good. So we'll do that. Do the same here. Try and get this right. I'll do one more there. Oh, that wasn't great. A little bit less. Come on, Daniel. Oh no, maybe I should have taken the other one. These are all terrible. No, there we go. Cool. So I just have to like imagine everything in here is going to have a solid fill. So like this sort of line work here, we've got to close that off. See, this is what I love about doing this. You can, when you get to an end result, and this end result will look super impressive by the end of this stream. When you get to an end result that looks impressive, I just love being able to show people that it's so much easier than it might look. It's great. Because then I think it's encouraging, because people look at it and go, oh, that's cool. Maybe I could do that. And then they have a go, and it's just like the right knowledge, the right tools and techniques. I would lead that into a sales pitch for my Photoshop and Illustrator courses. If you, I can't be bothered. We got work to do. But this entire technique that we're doing from vector to Photoshop, there's an entire module in the Photoshop masterclass that will cover that. There we go. We did go into a sales pitch. We'll keep it light though. Yeah, there's a whole module on this process from Illustrator to Photoshop, just because it's just a technique that I think is so cool. But to do that, we've got to get the line work exactly right first time, because once we go into Photoshop, we can't really go back and make changes very easily. So let's get it right first time. A bit up there, maybe. So we'll go all the way up. Come on, Daniel. Oh. He flew a bit close to the sun. There we go, let's just space that out. Obviously, this is going to need cleaning up. And if I was smart, I would have made all the new lines pink, so I know where the new line work is. But we'll go over it afterwards. And let's just have a look and see if there's any more details. The more detail you add, the longer it is going to kind of take this whole process to do, but let's not miss anything. Maybe in the ear. I feel like the ear needs a bit more. So we'll do that. And maybe round something. No. The shortcut you want to remember as well is this one here. Deselect, Shift, Command, or Control A. So as you'll see me use this all the time. So I've got something selected. I'll just boop, deselect. It's a very, very good shortcut to use. Because if I have something selected already, then I'll start accidentally redrawing it. So you just deselect with that shortcut. And you're good. So we'll go around and do this. That looks a bit weird. Not sure about that one. Maybe that. That'll do. The eyes, they need like an eyebrow or something. Or like a top eyelid. Something like that. So we can connect that up. Go and smooth that if we need to. We'll go and refine all this after. That might be enough, actually. Anything else? Any other little details that you can see that we might want to add? Oh, just spotted one. This one here. Let's try and do this really good. It's much easier drawing on the tablet. I'm just looking at the screen at the minute. So if I lean down, it's a bit tricky to kind of stay near the mic, but you'll enjoy this, Kerry. Yeah, I think you might be right, Marina. I think it might be something to do. I think it's something to do with mythology and their belief in demons, and the samurai or people would wear it to terrify their enemies. It's definitely something like that, but I'm not educated enough on it to know. So I've just got my very limited perspective. So someone who's more cultured or understands this much more is going to be more useful than me. The lips. Oh yeah, the nose. The nose. Wait, where is the nose? So this bit here's the nose. I haven't really actually got a nose, have we? So this is the nose. So that would be a nostril there, and then this would probably connect round a bit more. That would form your nose, right? Ah, this bit here is wrong. So let's continue that to that center point. So we've got a nose there. Didn't really have a nose before. Whoops. In fact, maybe this will break. We'll break that. Break that. Could we come back? Do something like this, maybe. So direct selection tool, we can refine all this. Getting there. Getting there. Let's do that. And then where are you? Where are you going to go? What about something like this? Remember, everything's going to be a closed path. That was a bit sloppy. There we go. Bit better. All right. Okay. Interesting. I love the pen. I think I'm going to leave the eyeballs. These are cutouts from like for a mask, so someone can see if they were wearing it. This is a real product. I think the eyes, I might make them glow, and that's where you'll start to see the benefit of bringing it into Photoshop. We can shade it and get that depth much easier than Illustrator. It'll look better, and then you get to add glow effects to what was otherwise affecting illustration. So it's nice. Oh, what, Christopher, the keyboard shortcut? Yeah, I know. I think, what is it? It's A here, and then it's Command or Control Shift D in Photoshop. I know, it would make a lot more sense. But hey ho, we don't want things to make too much sense, because, well, that would make our lives easier. Ugh, let's make things more complicated than they need to be. Right, this bit here. So I want this to be, I will pencil this bit. So it's straight. Yeah. Right, I think that's enough. So we could go and spend forever on this, but this stream would then be like a million years long. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go in and try and select things. Why can't I select you? Ah, we've got to go inside that group. There we go. And we can select the line work. We've got to zoom in quite a lot. You want your smart guides on. Got to let all this stuff snap. We've got to try and get it to snap. This is all very important, because we'll need this for the live paint to work. So we'll snap this. So we're just going to clean all this line work up. And I would just, yeah, look, zoom in. Shape builder tool if you need to trim anything off, but you've got to scrutinize every single connection, because see that's a problem. So we've got to go in and we've got to get it all looking fan-dabby-dozy. These are all disconnected as well. So excuse me a sec while I just rapidly zoom in and out. But we're just going to clean this up, or shape builder tool these away. And I'm using keyboard shortcuts here, so if you're thinking like, oh my goodness, how are you doing all that? It's too fast. I teach this stuff slowly in the courses, but as you use the same tools and techniques over and over, you just get faster. Right, let's snap you to the center line. Lovely. We'll snap you together as well. Beautiful. This thing here, we'll connect that up. You're good. Connect you. I think we're going to bring this one just down a little bit more. There we go. So it's much easier diagnosing and doing all this stuff in outline mode. You just get to see like that wireframe of your design without all the stroke weights and all that nonsense. Yeah, you will have the reflect tool. Reflect tool is underneath the rotate tool, O on the keyboard. The reflect tool's been around forever, I think. You might need to go to the dots and go to the advanced toolbar if you don't see it. Yeah, 100% care. Outline mode is the bee's knees. Hey, Warren. How's it going, sir? Alright, we're getting somewhere. We'll speed run this. I gotta make sure the line work is solid. Because once we go into Photoshop, there's no going back. See here, you definitely don't want this overlap, so we'll just bring that back in. Make sure you line up. You don't want overlapping. I could bend that around a bit as well for a smoother curve. This bit here, let's clean you up. Pull you a little bit lower, so we kind of have a nice tapering off. There's a nostril there. Let's get that. Right, how are we doing? I think this is looking pretty tight. We don't have to worry about the right side, because that is just being mirrored. Maybe some of these points. Maybe we round some of these off slightly, so they're not too sharp, like a sharp banana. We'll just round them off. Just because a lot of things in the real world generally aren't this pinpoint perfectly sharp. If you zoom in enough, a lot of things do have like a very slightly rounded quality to them. Ear details. There we go. Get you as well. And you'd be amazed how quick this tracing process can actually be. Especially if you're speed running it with the pencil tool. Because it just lets you throw down your line work super fast, and then you can just go and refine it. These as well. I'm just gonna give these like a tiny bit of roundedness. Nice. Anything else that's okay there. That bit's not too bad. The teeth aren't especially sharp anyway. Someone shout if they can see something that I've missed. Maybe one here. So that's got to be a closed path to round them off. So you might have to join those two endpoints. And this bit here, I might just... Oh, no, it balls that up. There we go. This one here. Just a little bit of roundedness. And then this line here is a bit crap, so I'm going to pencil this one myself. It's going to look a little bit like a strand of toothpaste. Maybe this. Wasn't really what I was going for then. Let's just grab that bit. Maybe this one here. A little bit pointier. Yeah, this part of the line looks awful, so it's just... Yeah. Hey, Jagret. Oh, so creative. Hello. Ah, right. Okay. We're gonna have to leave it there. I know. I want to carry it. Oh no. There's a few things I don't want to miss, like this bit here above the lip, and I don't have a tongue actually. Now, the more detail I'm adding, I am making this way more complicated for myself, but it will look sick. So let's let's go and we don't want to miss out some really important details. So let's add a tongue. That was terrible. Let's pen tool it. Just to get a bit more precision here, we'll do that. Something like that. And then bring it back in here. There we go, with an intentional little kink in there. Smooth out that bit. Actually, no, I might smooth that as well. That could look a bit odd. So what we're going to do is bring it, we'll bring this round here. So that will be the tongue. And then I guess we would have to have something. There we go. That looks a bit weird. That looks like he's got a biscuit in his mouth. I'm going to get rid of that. Do you know what? No, I might get rid of this and just have it like that. We'll keep the mouth just completely dark. And I can try and retroactively add a tongue in if I want to. Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe that. A devil with a biscuit, yeah. I don't know. I don't know about Japanese mythology. Hey, David, maybe they've got a biscuit demon. I don't know. Like the demon of food or gluttony or something. I don't know. I think I'm reaching. I don't think there's a Japanese biscuit demon. But I kind of wish there was. Hey, at least we've got a nose now. So we've got nose, eyes, mouth, and we've got somewhat sort of a tongue. I think we're good. And this doesn't have to match exactly. Like, this is... I think maybe here we'll have this come up. Just bring it down. Find that midpoint. So we've got a smooth connection. Right, we're gonna have to leave it there now. Come on, Dan. You flipping idiot. We're gonna have to move on. I don't like this bit here. This bit is... This bit here is annoying me a bit. Is that better? There's something about it I don't like. I think it's the tapering off of everything. Okay, maybe we'll do that. We'll keep it a bit simpler so I don't drive myself completely insane. We're going to say that is done. So let's sling this version down there, and then we're going to do our new and improved, more detailed version. Copy, paste it in place here. So we've got to expand our mirror group first. Get rid of that weird bounding box. And now we're going to go to live paint. Click. Now it's a live paint group. And we're going to just work with, you can use any colors you like. There are ways you can do the coloring in Photoshop if you want to. So what we're going to do here is use the grayscale panel to add a lot of the color work in. So we're going to have, and this is just going to be solid colors, but what it's going to do is enable us to define where the light and dark areas are. So we're going to build on that in Photoshop, but we can at least start the ball rolling here. So you got that weird little tongue bit, which would be lighter. We're going to drop the line weight down as well. We are actually going to get rid of it in a minute. Get rid of the stroke altogether. But for now, we're going to use it so we can still see everything. Teeth, they're going to be this sort of light grey here. We'll use the same grey. Actually, no. I'm going to go with a darker one for the normal teeth. And if you paint the wrong colour, don't worry, because you can change that in Photoshop. This lip here, we'll do that. Slightly darker grey there. We'll do a darker one there. Go darker here. The base colour for the mask, we'll go there. Darken those bits so they're kind of inset. That can be dark. This can be darker. And if you're not sure, just throw the colour in and see how it looks. Yeah, I'll throw some dark in there. There we go. I've got to make sure we use the same colours on both sides. That's one thing I was just being a bit cavalier with then. So let's make sure we got the same ones. We'll leave the... Actually, no, we will colour the eyes. We'll colour them for now. So we'll just give them... well, no, we'll give them a light grey. But we have to like give that a colour to define it as a shape. But like I said, we can change that later on. And we could even make the base colour, the whole thing, a bit darker. What else? Bit there. Darker on the inside. Lighter on the outside. Bit. Yeah, something there. I keep forgetting to note which colors I'm using. So as a first kind of pass, that's not too bad. And then we can select that and get rid of the stroke. So we are left with something like that. Which looks alright. As a first crack, that's okay. And the line work's all super clean. And we can then go and change the colors if we want. Oh, is that true, Raquel? It's protection against evil spirit. What? Hang on. So the terrifying demon-looking mask is actually protection from ugly spirits. Above the eyebrow. Good spot. Hold on. Glad I got you here. Yeah, so it doesn't matter what color we use really for a lot of this. You just want to have every segment has to have a color. So you by having a color, you define it as a sublayer. This is going to be very important when we bring it into Photoshop because every single shape here that we've live painted, that will become a layer in Photoshop. And we need every single piece as its own layer to easily do the all of the brushwork and all that stuff. Yes, I've seen it in theatre a little bit more. I just saw yesterday a designer used the shape builder tool to paint. It was kind of cool. What are your thoughts on that? I got no idea. Is that a particular technique? The shape builder tool to paint. How would you paint with the shape builder tool? The shape builder tool is great for connecting different lines and paths and bits. So we will keep this version. We'll keep this version because that in itself does look all right. It looks kind of cool as an illustration. Yeah, we can keep that, or we could stop there and be very proud of it. But we're going to do something else now. So we're going to take a copy of this. We're going to keep the live paint editable version so you can go back if you need to. Actually, no, I will. No, the colors are fine on that. I can change it if I need to. So we're going to go expand. Yeah, there is no stroke, so that's good. So we should now, if we ungroup this a million times, we should have all of these as separate pieces. This is what we want. And then we select everything, we copy it, we open up Photoshop, wherever it is. There you are. And I'm going to make a nice big document size because this isn't vector now. What we're doing now isn't going to be... Actually, no, I'm talking rubbish. A lot of what we do now is still going to be vector because the shapes we're going to bring in are shapes with paths. But regardless, I'm going to make a big document anyway, just so I've, got a super high res version of this design. I might as well make it bigger than smaller because you can always scale it down, but you can't as easily scale it up. So we may as well go bigger. Go big or go home. So paste it in as layers. This is a feature that is more specific to the more recent versions. So if you don't have a later version of Photoshop, let's say, I guess within the last couple of years, you won't have this option. So what you can do is paste this in, and if we, yeah, there we go. Let's ungroup all this. You see all these paths? All of these have come in as vector shapes. So we should be able to do all this. And we can still go and change all the colors. So this is what we want. We'll call you Oni. Background, I'm just going to throw in like a gray, like a light neutral gray. Ideally not something that's already being used. So that looks all right. And then we're going to grab all of these parts. Now you can go and name all of these. If you've got the time on your hands, you could go and name all these layers for all the different body parts. It would make things easier, but you don't need to do that, and I don't want to waste time and waste your time doing that. So, but one thing I am going to do is I'm going to give them a color. And the reason I'm giving these a color is because everything that is now this indigo blue colored layer, I know it's a vector shape that I've brought in. So as I start adding other layers and adjustment layers and all that stuff, I'm going to keep them a different color, which is just going to make, you know, working between the vector shape and the adjustment layers a lot easier. So, all right, this is the fun bit now. The fun bit that should hopefully look pretty cool. So we're going to grab this one here, this piece, the head, and we're going to add, well, you can add new layers and you can shade with black. I think I'm going to do it with an exposure adjustment layer, because if I do it this way, I'm going to add a clipping mask. What I can do is I can change the color underneath. I'll show you this in a minute. And if you paint onto new layers and you have your shadows in black, that is a specific color. And if you change the color underneath, the black blending onto that color might not always work. With an exposure adjustment layer, you're not really changing a color, you're changing the exposure. So as you change the color of the object underneath, it should always work, but I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So let's just drop the exposure down, and we'll call this one shadow, and we'll just go for -3.5. There we go. So we've got a specific value, or maybe -4. Go lower than you need to. And we'll invert that. We're going to grab a default soft brush, switch the color to white. I would bump the flow down to like, I don't know, 20%. And because this adjustment layer is clipped with a clipping mask to the head path, we can now brush around this and we can then create some shadows. And this helps us create a bit of depth and make it look a bit more rounded. And you can press X to swap to black, and you can completely undo that. But we're now going to use this to kind of shade around the entire head. And we've got to try and do this symmetrically as well. And we'll adjust the brush size where needed to do that. Real simple, he says. I've got to remember I'm not in symmetry mode now, so I've forgotten to do the other side. At the moment, I'm doing this flat. If you want to have your light coming from a specific direction, so if the light was coming from over here, you wouldn't necessarily add the shadows in the same way, but because I'm just going to have flat front on neutral lighting, I'm going to keep the left and the right pretty balanced. And maybe I'll add some highlights at the end, who knows. I paint with the shape builder tool sometimes. How do you paint with the shape builder tool sometimes? Someone please enlighten me how that works. Yeah, I think we'll dodge the layer naming. Okay, so then we've got the whole. If you're going to do like something like this, I would naming these layers would probably take about 5 minutes. So if I were doing it properly, it would make life easier, because sometimes, you know, selecting the right piece can be a pain in the ass. So now I've got to grab this adjustment layer, hold Alt or Option and drag up. And I've got to try and find the horn layer, which is up here somewhere. And you see, I don't know where the hell it is. I don't know where it is. So it does get tricky. That's why I used a very specific value for the exposure, because I can now just go -4 and I've got the same thing. So yeah. Right, so we're going to invert that. And in fact, hang on. Because this is symmetrical, let's try something else. Let's just, I'm going to shade around the edge. I cover this sort of all of this stuff is covered in the Photoshop Masterclass. So we create a photorealistic PlayStation 5 controller. We do a Squid Game graphic. There's a practice exercise where you've got like practice files that will give you a bunch of shapes and you've got to shade them. And the great thing about all this is these techniques can be used for photo retouching or compositing. So any artwork that you do, these brush techniques, they are very universally applicable. So you've got to learn how to use the brush tool for this sort of stuff because you can use it for so many different things. There we go. So let's just kind of do that. That's pretty good. I wonder if we can copy that over. Let's... Yeah, so see, this is the right horn. This is the left. No. So it's not placed the layers anywhere near each other, which is kind of annoying. So I don't know. Maybe I'll name them as I need to as I go, just to make my life easier. So we'll go left horn. Let's move the mic out of the way. And then now as I drag, I wonder. Where is my right horn? Where are you? There you go. So we'll crop that. I wonder if I can flip the adjustment layer and then move it. Yeah. Obviously, you got to manually line this up. You see here, I'm just manually doing it. But I think that's going to be a damn sight quicker than trying to manually do it. Now, at the moment, you've got these weird little pixely lines in between. There are ways we can sort that out that will actually give us a better end result as well. So don't worry too much about that now. There's a little clever technique we use right at the end that will make the whole thing look more realistic and get rid of them at the same time. Yeah, if you have like if you do your shade, you can do your shading with colors. Like, you know, you don't have to use this adjustment layer. You can just what layer is it? I've just clicked on. Yeah, this piece over here. You can just use black and white. You can use black for your shadows, white for your highlights, and then it does make it a bit easier when you copy and paste just a block of color on a layer rather than an adjustment layer, but. You know, it doesn't need to be perfectly precise. You know, you look at those two horns, they look pretty much the same. This bit here, we're going to make that a little bit darker. So we'll go maybe like that. Or maybe we'll sample the shading here, something like this. And then we will add an exposure one. So we'll keep the process for this consistent. We're going to darken it. We'll invert it. And then, again, using that 20% flow, we're just going to brush in and make it a bit darker. Just swap between black and white with X on the keyboard. Go, just brushing that in. And we might not necessarily get it right first time, but that's okay. We can build this up, and then we can always go in here and we can adjust this, so we can actually adjust how dark it is. This one here, what we're going to do with this, exposure, clipping mask, drop it down nice and low. And then maybe we'll run shadow along the edge. Let's bump the flow up a bit. Just have that middle part a little bit lighter. Something like that. Looks kind of cool. Now I don't want to go and repeat that on the other side because I'll probably cock it up. So Again, we're just going to go, now what do I even call that? Left, forehead, what do you even call that? I don't even know what that shape is. Left forehead thing. We'll just go with that. That works, sure. And then we'll get this one here. And it would help if I moved these layers closer together as well. But we'll just call it right forehead thing. I'm going to have to get better at naming to... Right, Alter Option and drag. This will let us duplicate it, and then I've got to go and find my right forehead thing. Where is it? Oh, I can't find it now. There we go. Clip, select. We're going to flip it horizontally. And then just move it over until we get that highlight in the middle. There we go. That'll do. You see what I mean about when I said that the more pieces you have and the more complexity, the more work you got to do, the more layers you're going to have. Yes, that is a good. Yeah, that is a good idea as well, Moosh. That's what I do in the course on the PlayStation 1, I think. Can't remember. Just group different pieces together. That would make a lot more sense. In fact, actually, let's do that now. That would make my life easier. So we'll go left ear, or my left at least. I mean, in fact, actually, you can turn bits off and on, so you don't have to contend with too much complexity. Go right ear, and yeah, I mean, we could go and layer the rest up, but I don't think I could be bothered. I think it'll be all right. Right, this bit here. We're going to go exposure. And there is a lot of repetition in this part of the process as well, but it will look really, really cool. So the light's going to kind of hit the central point a bit more. Around the edge is going to be a little bit more shadowed. Maybe a little bit more at the top as well. And then here, we're going to do the same thing again. Exposure. Bring it down. Add a clipping mask. Invert. And in the Photoshop Masterclass, we kind of build it up. So I think the first lesson is practicing on spheres, cubes, and other simple shapes. Then we do the Squid Game character, which is like this, but a simplified version with color. And then the PS5 controller, that is the big daddy at the end. That is the final boss, so to speak. Go around here. Obviously trying to speed run this. You see, just using shadows, you can actually create like rounded shapes. You can make things look a lot rounder. Just adjusting the brush size as well with the left and right square brackets. Yeah. Oh, up here as well. I forgot about that. You see the difference? It just goes from flat to much more three-dimensional. And then for the nose as well, how could we shape that? Could do something like this. Normally normally it'd be very symmetrical, but I think for the nose we want a little bit more. I might make it just a tiny bit more one-sided here to get a little bit of that definition between the left and the right. And we will be adding highlights after as well. So you see there, we've just created a bit more of a nose, but we can accentuate that even more with the highlights afterwards. I hated Photoshop, and now I use it much more with confidence because of Dan's courses. Oh, it's been... Jez says Photoshop is fun. Oh, yeah, it's been amazing, Raquel. I know you didn't like the brush tool at first, but that was why I was just like, the brush... Please stick with the brush tool. It's once you get used to it, it's really cool. It's definitely more enjoyable with a pen, tablet, or display. It really is. I mean, for me personally, this sort of work, retouching, illustration, whatever it is, doing it directly on the drawing directly on the display is just so enjoyable. It does feel just a little bit more like, makes me feel like more like an artista, just a little bit more, and it's just quite enjoyable as well. I do a lot of brush work for things manually because I just enjoy it. So, right, I don't know what this bit is I've done here, so I'm just gonna have to try and do something with that. I'm not entirely sure what that is that I've done there, but yep, we'll go with that. It looks good. We'll call it left cheek piece. It doesn't matter what you call it as long as it's a name that is different from everything else. And then we'll call this one right cheek piece. So we'll just do that for now. We'll drag with Alt Option. Where's my other cheek piece? Where are you hiding? There you are. Yeah, so you see that little bit of organization beforehand will make life easier. So it's probably is worth doing, to be fair. Unless you are like me and you are feeling lazy. Ah, this is going to look so cool by the end of it. I was amazed by the fire text. Oh, yeah. That is one of the harder ones. Oh, thank you, Kerry. Yeah, that is one of the harder ones. I don't know why I keep smoking my stylus. What was I saying? Got distracted. Yeah, the fire text, that's pretty hard. And a lot of techniques in that. It is like it's quite artistic. There's a lot of stuff that can be open to, you know, interpretation of the different techniques, and what you do is never going to look the same as what anyone else does. In fact, Kerry, I would say if you were to try it again, you'd probably get a completely different result. When I was prepping the lessons for that, the amount of times I had to sort of run through and practice the fire effect, and you just get a different result every time. You know, there's some techniques that are very methodical, step by step. Hey, we all get the same result, and then there's some stuff that is just you're not going to get the same result every time, and other people are going to get a different result to you as well. All right, we're just going to add in some shading around the inside and maybe go a little bit darker on the chin, and maybe here, maybe this bit. We'll see how this looks. Smaller brush, just try and add like a little bit of a crease, or like a bit of detail like this. And then we can, let's try it again, make it a bit more pronounced. Trim some of it away, and then we'll just shade a little bit under it. May or may not work. Might need to be a bit more subtle. No. That'll be all right, actually. We might need a highlight on there as well to kind of get that to really look proper. Or actually, let's bring it a bit higher. So it's kind of, yeah, there we go. That's what I want. That's what I'm missing. So it's coming in from this part here. So it's following the geometry effectively of this part here. There you go. Oh, it's amazing how you can use this to like brush in these little details and everything. And we'll make sure we're stopping at this halfway point. We're not going to go beyond it because I am going to flip this. I don't want to try and do that symmetrically on the other side. So a lot of this detail here, you can still, like, I know we've drawn a lot of it in, but you can actually brush this in as well if you want. Right, let's get a little bit more. Maybe a bit down here. These teeth are going to create some shadows, so let's add some shadows underneath where they are. Just kind of make it look like they're casting a shadow on the thing under them. Bit round there. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good, off and on. I've done a bit on the right. Right, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of all this. Don't want any of that. We'll get rid. Just so it's on the left side. And we'll call this left jaw. Now I've got to find the other side. Oh, crap. No, it's all the same thing. It is just the whole thing, isn't it? So, okay. We'll take that. We will duplicate it, clip it, and flip it. Yeah, there we go. And then we'll just make this little bit here. Just stitch that together. Maybe do a little bit down here. Just to kind of, again, sort of see this bit here? We could actually, if we do this, we just make it all a bit darker, and then we'll get this. Just do something like this. Let's try and get that curve right. We'll try and one-shot it just to get a nice curve. So this whole process is a lot more artistic than normal. There we go. Yeah, we can always come back and refine that. It's not the smoothest, but it'll do for now. And maybe under here as well. Shade some of this a bit more. Oh, so you can see it's starting to really come together. Pen stroke set to pressure. Yeah, so you've got to click on. This is a mistake I do all the time. If you choose one of these brushes and just change the hardness, it won't work. You need to select this one here, pressure, opacity, and flow. This will bring all of these things into account. And then if I go to brush settings, you can play around with the shape dynamics and have it set to pressure. But at the minute, I don't want to do that. When you're doing lighting and shading, you don't really want pressure in play. For any illustrative stuff, yes, you do. But for the shading, the brush being the same size is great. Right, this one here. What is this? We'll call this left cheek slit. Excuse my weird names. Just making these up on the spot. And there we go. Do that. Actually, no, we'll take that even darker. Ooh. Always go a bit darker than you need to, like the darkest part that it's going to be. Because you can always just lighten it. So, in fact, actually, no, I'll start with it dark. This might be easier. I'll start with it dark. And we'll mask out a bit of lightness. Now, where do I want the light to come in? Is it around here? Like this? Yeah, nice. Then we go a little bit up there. And just really big brush, just softly do a bit more. And that does look a bit weird, actually, so maybe that does need to go a bit darker. In fact, maybe the whole thing needs to be darker. It can take a bit of playing around to figure out where to put the highlights and the shadows. So maybe that. Keep it real subtle. And this one here probably needs changing as well. Or we could take this and we could lighten the... Oh no, not that. This one. We can actually lighten the color of the shape as well. So we'll go for that. And then we'll flip that over. Right cheek slit. Exactly. In fact, yeah, that's a good point, Jez. Let me show you the color thing in a sec. So we've got to duplicate this. And I would say if you're new to this as well, start with black and white. That's what we do in the course anyway. We start with the practice lesson with black and white first, and then we move on to the Squid Games character with color. Right. Where's the cheek slit? Yeah, so we start with complex shapes and then we build it up. All right, I've got to try and line this up now. There we go. That's not too bad. So yeah, color is a good point. So let's go back to the head. Call it the forehead. Forehead. If we go and change the color now, you can see we're not blending black or white or any particular highlight color. You can do that if you want, but then if you're going to change the color like this, we're changing the color, and the exposure adjustment layer will just change the exposure of that color. So it does give you more flexibility. Right, let's do a few more of the significant ones. And I'm doing this without the reference image as well. It would probably be smart of me to use that, but I'm just kind of doing whatever. So let's go super dark. And then we'll just start doing some shadow. So under the chin, I'm just not going to get tons of light in there. And then maybe a bit around here. Probably want a bit more light up here. So this is going to sort of sit above the other element that is behind. And this does get easier with practice. You might find that if you put the shadows and highlights in the wrong place, or you put them the opposite way round, it will look weird and impossible. So like something there doesn't look quite right, but it definitely gets easier with practice. We'll try this bit. Let's go a bit darker. Invert. This is another really cool trick as well, is when you're doing this sort of thing, everything at the minute is flat. Everything is solid color. So regardless of where you think the shadows would or wouldn't be, just by running your brush around the outside like this, watch this. That's just a first pass. I'll do it again. It will get even more exaggerated. You see now it looks rounded. So just going around the outside of a shape that is flat, even ever so slightly, will make it look less flat and more rounded. You kind of almost need to do that for all of them, really. Otherwise, it will just look flat. And again, it depends how rounded you want it. If I do something like this, it's going to appear more rounded. This is going to be more like a slight bevel. Shading that around there. So it's kind of a little bit of an illusion of making things appear rounded that aren't, just by adding shadows. Like I say, we've not even done lighting yet. But we will get there. Okay, how's this going to work? So the teeth are behind this. And for this bit here, I'm not entirely sure, actually, what this is, how to make it look right. So I'm just going to just do whatever here. You know, get something in, and then if it doesn't look right, I can always tweak it after. Right, teeth. These are all the same color, so we're going to go with an exact... we'll go with -3. We want all the teeth to be treated similarly. Again, it's flat. We're going to go around the edge. But first of all, just do this to give it that rounded aesthetic. And then come in a bit harder here. And then maybe brush away a bit in the middle. It's just going to make it look a bit more rounded. Take it darker if we need to, but I think that's all right for now. I still want to keep the teeth a little bit lighter. Yeah, we got Mr. Potato Head. Yeah, we're not doing a color yet, just because it's super easy to get distracted. Right, so what am I going to call this? Left bottom tooth. We'll call this right bottom tooth. There we go. Crop, select the adjustment layer, not the mask. You don't want to select the mask. Make sure you actually click on the adjustment layer. So mask, adjustment layer. It does make a big difference, and it's caused me all sorts of chaos before. Right, this bit here. This is under the nose. So we're definitely getting there. This is the sort of thing you would spend a lot of time doing. There we go. And something like that. Looks kind of cool. And then here we're going to do the same thing again. Darken, darken, darken. And this time we'll start with dark, and we'll just make it a bit lighter. Yeah, there we go. We're just kind of adding shadows around some of these little features. Right. Let's do this one. Again, we're going to start dark. And that looks fine for now. Oh god, what am I going to call this? Left slit under nose. He's getting a bit ridiculous now. So then I've got to find the right slit under the nose. I wish it had put them if it had put them together. Actually, no, I should have taken the time to organize it, but I just thought that would be very boring to watch. Right slit under nose. Clip, select the adjustment layer, flip it horizontally. I mean, another way you could do this is you could literally only do half of it and do the symmetry thing in here. But because stuff like the nose runs across both sides, that's why I've kept it like this. Nostrils, let's just change the color for now. We can come back and shade that a little bit later on. This bit here, I don't even know what this is. We'll keep it like a medium gray, and then we'll exposure adjustment layer it, bring it down, flip it around, and then just shade. Shade, shade, shade. So we're going to go around the edge again, so it kind of looks like it's got like a bevel, like a lip to it. Darker shadows down here because it's in the corners, so light just is not quite getting there. And then maybe in the middle as well. Oh, bloody terrifying. Yeah, maybe Racco. Our puppy's out with the kids. Oh, that's good. They didn't force you to update to the new one then. That would be pretty, that wouldn't be the smartest move, I think, especially on a company computer if they were going to do that, because there might be a whole bunch of incompatibility things that they've not considered. So I think staying on Sequoia 15.7 is probably a good shout. That's not stupid at all. How does one learn to shade? It's one of the fundamental aspects of art that I simply don't get. Okay, so when I don't approach it from an artist point of view because I'm like, I mean, I do create photo art and art, and I do create my own art, but I don't think of myself as a traditional artist. I don't know about like the form of the human body, muscles. I know a little bit about lighting and shading and shadows, but that's just from working on projects and doing a bit of computer 3D. And so in terms of learning how to shade, you have to think about your flat design in a three-dimensional point of view. And these are the same techniques that you use for photo manipulation. So the biggest mistake I see in photo manipulation is not balancing your exposure and your color correctly, and then lighting and shadows. They have the most significant impact on the end result. They're like the foundation of the piece. If the foundation's not done properly, whatever you do on top, it isn't going to change that. So the actual process for shading is just literally a case of using the brush tool with a soft edge, bringing the flow down, and just doing this. That's why I love teaching this, because it's not clever, it's not it's not hard. It just takes a little bit of practice getting used to it. I mean, like, technically it's not very difficult. It's very, very easy technically, but then of course, as you can see here, the actual application of it, I've probably put some of the shadows in the wrong place that will make things look a bit weird. But it is just a case of you bring the flow down as well, so you can do this. Build it up gradually, and then build it up more on the left, and then nice and soft on the right. The big mistake with shadows is doing this. You try and do this, and then you go, oh, why does it look rubbish? You've got to just build it up gradually. Right, let's drop these down as well. So these are going to be a bit darker. Some of these will come back and shade either later, or I'll just finish it up off stream. Oh my goodness, we've nearly been going how have we got to 2 hours already? Goodness me. We've not done this bit here yet, so we'll just do a few more. It'd be cool to get to the eyes as well. I'm trying to do something pretty cool with the eyes. Let's get that down nice and low. And yeah, there we go. There we go, something like that. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure what this piece even is, actually. But we'll do, yeah, we'll do that. Left, nose, bit. Then we've got to go right nose, bit. So yeah, it is quite repetitive. I'll do a few highlights in a minute. Where's the right nose bit? Have I gone too far? There we go. Yeah, that's probably a bit dark, actually. I've probably gone a bit too heavy with that. So we'll bring it up, go with minus 3.82. There we go. And these bits here, I'll just darken them slightly for now. And this one as well. Just sample the surrounding area and just make it just a tiny bit darker. I'll do this one slightly different because we've got the nose shading here as well, so that can be slightly different. And this one, this like little bridge. Whoops, not that. We'll do this manually actually, so I can kind of factor in the lighting here as well. So, oh, whoops! I put it in the wrong place. Come on, Dan, you turkey. What are you doing? What are you doing, you lemon? There we go. Right, this one. Bring it down. And just brush away a bit, just so we get that sort of bridge across the nose. And if we wanted to, we could even go and stick a background in now, just to see how it looks. So maybe just like a medium grey. Yeah, it's looking pretty cool, actually. And you can see how you create different layers and depth and all sorts of bits and pieces doing this as well. So let's just do a few highlights. What I would do actually is I'm going to call these, all of these adjustment layers at the minute, I will take a sec to call these shadows, because otherwise it can get very confusing when you've got shadows and highlights and you don't know which ones are which. You could go and color them different, so the shadows are like red and the highlights are yellow or something, but I'm just going to name these because it will make my life easier. Dee-dee. Yeah, there we go. We haven't even got to texture yet as well, so try and maybe see if we can get to popping some of that in at the end as well. In fact, let's grab a texture. What sort of texture? Plastic or metal or rusted? Let's do metal texture. Try and find something that looks kind of cool. Ooh, that could be good. We'll try maybe that one. And maybe this one. So I've just grabbed a couple textures. Let's just see how these could potentially look. Doo-doo. It does. Time does fly. Oh, hello, Andrea. Painting me one hand and in the other, the phone. Yes. I love it. I appreciate the dedication. Just don't drop your phone in the paint or something. Or end up like painting the window and you're like not even watching. Right. We've ignored the ears as well, actually, so we mustn't forget the ears. We'll call this Oni, and then we'll add the texture on here. We'll clip it below. We could try and use a blending mode. That's quite nice, actually. Soft light, instant way to just texturize the entire thing. Super simple. Again, all this stuff's covered in the course. Segue, da 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 da. Right, we'll take the color out of this actually. So let's do hue saturation. We will strip it out. We could try a blending mode. See how it looks. Maybe metal's not the right thing. And we could do this as well. No, let's leave it like this. At the moment, it's like a flat texture. I mean, you could use both of them. And then you might want a different material for the teeth as the main body. So I would probably, like this texture at the minute is great, but it's flat. So I would go to warp, and then I would push it in different directions. Maybe bump the grid up. And just push different bits around. Even if you don't do this too precisely, what it does is just make things not look as flat. You see here, you don't need to get too in depth with this, but just by pulling all of this in, you can make we'll scrub it from the horns as well, so forget that. We can make the whole texture just feel like it fits the contours of in this case, the mask, rather than just a flat texture on something that's meant to be looking rounded, which can look really weird. So there's your before, just flat texture. And there's your after, where it's kind of been pushed to sort of fit the contours a bit more. And then what I could do is... In fact, there's another way we could do this as well. If you didn't want the texture on the horns, for example, you could select the horns in the layers here and then scrub the texture from it. Or what we could do is we can use liquify. And could stretch these bits here just a bit more so they kind of cover the whole horn. And then some of these bits as well, I can push in towards the edge. Again, we're just selling that idea of contouring even more. So you can warp them, or you can kind of slightly more freely push bits around, and then just adjust things like this. Maybe here you want to push it up around the nose. And you see again, sort of difference that makes. And that is quite a cool texture, actually. That is all right. And we don't need to worry about the grey and all that stuff, you know, because we can go and adjust all of this stuff, the lightness, the contrast, all that stuff, super easy to change at the end. I don't know what to do with the eyes. Whether to have the eyes red or not. Because we could make them glow just to make it more terrifying. And obviously we don't want the texture on the eyes as well, so If I select both the eyes and move them down here, what do we got? We got left eye, whoops, and then right eye. We can select both of these, and actually we could just move them to the very top, move them above any texture. That is probably an easy way around it. Now, how are we going to do the glow? For the glow, let's try something. So we've got right eye here, convert to smart object, and then we're going to blur it. Duplicate it, jump the blur, duplicate it again, jump the blur, duplicate, pump the blur, duplicate, bump the blur, duplicate, bump the blur, duplicate, bump the blur. And let's see if we can do anything with that. Yeah, maybe a color dodge. So boom. Just a really quick and easy way to make something glow using the existing shapes. Right eye glow. And we could flip that around to the left as well. In this sort of thing, you could, it depends how far you really want to take it. Oh, hang on. Whoops. Yeah, let's duplicate it. Because at the minute we're doing all the shading and everything, but all the other retouching techniques, once you've done lighting and shadows, it could be highlights. So these eyes with them glowing, you might want the design like really dark, and then you have the red kind of bouncing off all the other areas and all the other features around here. So that is something else you can still do. But yeah, so I think for now that's a bit much. I'd probably just get rid of it and just have the background. And I think a darker background is gonna possibly be the way to go. Not sure. And you can see here, as you do this, it looks good, but by changing the color of the background, it lets you see everything a bit better. So I need to go to forehead. I could work on this same adjustment layer, but actually sometimes adding a second one can be even better. So what I'm going to do now is make the head feel even more rounded. So this is why it's good to change the background sometimes, because it might look fine with one background, but then you change it and make it darker and suddenly the head still looks quite flat. Yeah, look at the difference. So still flat, more rounded, and then you can just, once you've got the shading in the right place, you can dial the amount back. And then we could even go and do highlights as well. So exposure, this time we go the other way, make it bright. Remember, we're going to call these layers the right things. So we'll go highlights. And then we could just go and brush in. We could even add like a subtle highlight around the edge or around a certain part. A little bright spot or something. And if it gets a bit much doing it on every single layer, what you could even do is go to the whole group and just do one shadows layer and one highlights layer and then carefully brush. The main advantage to doing this, having the clipping mask, is you're not going to go outside of that shape. So you can safely brush like a lunatic and you know you're not going to end up accidentally brushing onto the wrong part. So here what I might do is I might take this a bit darker and you just brush in a bit harder around that edge, maybe like this, just to bring that out a little bit more. Let's have a look. Yeah, the only downside now is that I've got to then copy that over. So I've just made a bunch of changes. I need to now copy that over to the right horn and replace it wherever the right horn is. See, if I'd taken the time to organize them and put them together, this would not be so much of a problem. But because I am silly ginger, I make more work for myself. But it's okay. You can laugh at me. Right. Yeah, so by the time this is done, I think at the end, I think it's going to look really, really cool. It's going to look super, super interesting. How long it will take to finish this, though, I have no idea. In fact, I should probably get rid of the texture for now as well. Whilst it is lovely, that is more of like an end thing. Yeah, and with the darker background, those kind of gaps between them, do you remember there was that weird like pixel gap? Hey, thief. Oh, of course, yeah, the mouth interior. I think I totally missed that, didn't I? Did I? Yeah, 100%. I think I actually completely didn't even get to that. Oh, balls. What was I saying? What was I saying? I was saying something. I have forgotten. Oh yeah, so the gaps between the shapes, there was that weird little pixel thing you could see with a light background. So if I do this, yeah, there you go. This happens because we're bringing in vector shapes. Everything's clean and lines up. But in Photoshop, when those vectors are all converted to pixels, unfortunately, you do get that sort of fuzziness around the edge. That's just one of the downsides of that conversion. But there is a way to get around it that I will show you in a second. I just want to sort the tongue out here. I think this will look better with a bit of shading. So let's make it as dark as the rest of the mouth. So it kind of goes invisible. And then we can just brush like this, just so it kind of is visible but then disappears off. Like that. That sort of works. Yeah, nice. Well done. Have a biscuit. These bits up here would be a bit darker as well. So let's just go and make these a tiny bit darker. Exposure, bring it down, flip it around, Just brush it in there. There we go. Douche. Yeah, so some of this, I know, around the mouth is totally not right. But again, that's why we do it in black and white. Because you imagine trying to contend with color at the same time. It's hard enough doing this black and white. But with color as well. But yeah, once you've finished your whole design, the whole thing is done. This is before you add your texture. Copy everything merged. This is the point of no return because it's flat now. So this whole thing is just a flat layer. We can't do anything else. But what you can do, in fact, let me just make the background light so you can see. So yeah, so we've got those horrible, weird connecting gaps that have appeared again. We're going to go with a light background. The way to get around this is to grab the blur tool. Depending on the size, you might need to adjust the strength. And you can just blur along these lines like this. And the great thing about this is it kind of hides them and blurs them. You see here. But at the same time, it actually makes it look a lot more realistic because you wouldn't have perfectly hard lines. You just don't get that. So by subtly blurring everything, you actually get a more realistic looking thing. If you're going for realism anyway. Now this is a little bit manual, but it is the finishing touches that makes a really good difference. Again, covered in the course. So before, if I just zoom in a bit, you better see it. There we go. Before, horrible pixel lines, and after. And of course, adjust the blur amount as needed, but when you zoom out, everything just looks like a lot more natural. But that is the sort of more of the finishing touches, if you like. But yeah, if we go back to Illustrator, and it's kind of cool at the end as well, because you end up with this process where you've got the original line work, which is cool. You could do a vector thing with that. You've got this vector style graphic, which again looks pretty cool. And then you got the more photorealistic one. Hey, check it out. We've got scary demon face. And then we got that one. Thanks. Just spent like 7 hours working on this, but
I've got something to show everyone.
It's not a flipping Hoover, is it?
No.
Oh god. Naming the layers, yeah. Symmetry tool? Not in Photoshop, no. What have you got? Oh, is this the stuff? Oh no, this is. Oh no, this is our. Hang on, shall I change the camera?
Okay, so annoyingly, so anyone that follows me on Instagram would have seen the videos of us going pottery painting for my mum's birthday.
Oh, you posted them?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
Dan was just pouring the paint onto his tin. No, what was it? A soda pop.
I know.
Can.
I know where you're going to go with this. I know where you're going to go. Mine came out the best.
No, not the best. I think mine actually came out the best, but yours actually turned out really good.
Of course it did. It was all part of the plan.
So he was pouring orange and red and
I painted.
Yellow.
No,
paint.
I painted with the paintbrush and I did a design, and then I tried to get a bit handsy and put fingers in it to like smudge it. By the end of it, I was just smothering paint everywhere, rubbing it all over, doing this, trying to blend in texture.
Yeah,
And I had faith. I knew it would come out all right.
it's actually really cool.
Whoa!
It's so cool.
Oh my god!
You need to look
Oh! And how they laughed! And how they laughed!
How good that actually is.
Yeah, look at that sexy texture. Here you can see Dan's handiwork at the Flying Saucer Cafe.
Daniel White.
Delicious, on-brand orange with fiery reds and creamy yellows, with a succulent, mouth-watering texture.
So good. There you go.
And you could that's what is it, porcelain, china or whatever. I could drink from this.
Yeah, so you
It's
can
a
actually
can.
put drinks in.
It's literally a can.
This was Eli's one, our youngest son, which basically I just did. If anyone's seen K-pop Demon Hunters, he wanted a soda pop can like Soulja Boy's.
Soda pop.
My little soda pop. So I made that for him. Then Leo did. Shit. I didn't bring anything. I've got some other in my mouth as well. What's it called? This type of fox?
Huh?
It's a Japanese fox.
Oh, well, like a kitsune.
Kitsune,
God.
yeah. So we did that, but it kind of looks like the England flag is on
Hey.
his face.
Hey, I'm fine with that. Let's get a bit of patriotism for
So
England.
He tried to do, and he's got like kind of Japanese on the back.
I love it.
So that was Leo's.
I love it. Excellent.
then-
I should have just put the England flag on mine.
The best for last. My one. Obviously, I had to go with the biggest thing. I know what you're doing. I wanted a vase, a vase vase.
A vase,
So-
vase vase.
I did that kind of design there, and then did a flower on the front. It's kind of reflecting a little bit.
Got
but-
the music on now.
Do-do-do-do-do-do. Yeah. I
Here we
just
can
wanted a
see
vase.
Poppy's floral vase with abstract, almost Picasso-like representations of different fruits and different vegetables. Now,
Vegetables.
the design is strictly average and could be a lot better in many ways. The shading is a bit lackluster, and honestly, it's a little bit of a mess. And also, the P and the L on the bottom, the date and the name is not central.
No, it's not.
I give this 3 out of
I
10.
thought that would fade though. I didn't think that would stay. There we go.
It's great. Absolutely
buy it?
fantastic.
Anyone want to buy it?
Anyway, so yeah, look at my can. Look how that turned out. Whoa, there's our thumbnail, Kerry. Ba-da-da.
Taking custom orders.
Taking custom. Basically, me painting mine was just like, yay. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, that is.
That's it's so annoying that actually looks really good.
Well, when you look at the actual picture, when you're doing it, it doesn't look like that. It looks like horrible and
Yeah.
like dry and, you know, turned out pretty well. I'm happy with that.
Thanks, Raquel. Thanks, Marina. You can't see everyone's comments. Oh,
Yeah.
There we go. Aww.
I'm getting good at this streaming business. You know?
Yeah.
We haven't had a technical problem for a while. It is a little bit disappointing. Do you remember the good old days where the audio didn't work and like the screen stopped working, and now everything just seems to work like smoothly? It's a bit sad, really. You alright?
I'm in the comments.
Can I help you?
You
Oh.
changed it to a W. Yes, Kerry.
Anyone ever told you about personal space?
Move over.
Ah,
So, what we doing?
we've been.
His teeth are a bit wonky.
You may go now. That's gonna call you woman of the West then.
Woman of the West.
Why?
The wicked witch of the West.
You may go now, woman of the West.
No.
No, man of the East. Oh, God. My brain has melted again. Wait, was that frozen?
Yeah. She's not done this. She's not a witch, is she?
No. Raquel, stop it.
Who?
Stop it, Gary. Oh, goodness me. Yeah, I think it's all right. It's got a lot of work to do on it, and the lighting and the shading, but it's utterly terrifying. But it should look cool when it's finished, and then you got the texture as well. Oof. Tasty texture.
Got a bum chin.
A bum chin. Yeah, I think some of it's gone a bit funny, but on the whole, it's turned out pretty good. The link at the top of the chat, by the way, is the Illustrator courses. Whereas if you are interested in the Photoshop stuff as well, this is like a bridge of Photoshop and Illustrator, but that's where they all live if you want to, whichever app you want to learn. Can we use the displacement map for the texture? Oh, sometimes. Sometimes you can. I've used it before and it's worked. I've used it other times and it hasn't worked. So it depends. I would try it. What you can do for a displacement map is I would take your design, make it much more high contrast, so the lighter areas, push them even lighter, the darker areas darker, and then do a flattened copy, save that as a PSD file, and then call it like displacement map. And then you'll take your texture, you will convert that to a smart object, which I've just done with a hidden layer because I'm a lemon, and then go and distort, displace, and if I did that correctly, displace. I would try cranking these values up. You want to change these values, you get like a more exaggerated result. Click OK, and then navigate to your displacement PSD, which is based on your design, and then see what you get. See what you get. Because this one's a subtle texture, you could probably get away with just zooming in really close and liquefying and, you know, pushing the texture and effectively sculpting a little bit more, and that will give you a decent enough result with something that's quite subtle. And then, of course, at the end of the whole thing, camera raw filter as well, because you got to do that. Because why not? And it depends how you want it as well, because this is like, you could have it like this as an illustration, but you could add a surface in the background. So if you wanted to have it so it's actually lying on a surface, and again, shadows and all these techniques are covered in the course. You could have it stood up, and you could have a shadow like this going off, so it's like floating, or you could have something a bit more like this. So it kind of looks like it's actually sat on a surface. And then if you were to just go and add the background, at the moment the background is flat. If you add just a little bit of lightness like this, all of a sudden you can make it actually seem like this mask is sat on a physical surface, and you can add texture to the surface and a whole bunch of things to just actually make it look like it's sat on a physical plane. And you can see at the moment, flat, it doesn't take much to adjust it and get it looking right. It's just knowing the right tools and techniques that I will teach you if you like. That's why I wanted to include a lot of this stuff in the courses. Like, some of it's more artistic and illustrative than graphic design, but there's the graphic design stuff as well. But they're ways that you can take like the vector stuff you do in Illustrator and just do so much more with it. So that's why I kind of threw a module in there on this sort of stuff. Oh, Marina, yeah. you don't need Photoshop 2025 to do the course. It's using, the course was recorded. Oh, what was it? Right, so first class, the beginner ones, they were Photoshop 2024, and then the courses were updated with new lessons for 25. The master classes, I'm pretty sure they were recorded in 2025, but most of the techniques and features you don't need 2025 for. You know, there's stuff like the generative fill and that you'll need the later versions, but the course isn't packed full of AI stuff. It's more about fundamental tools and techniques. You know, as long as you've got access to like the brush tool and many of these tools that have been a staple for, you know, well, probably decades at this point. You know, even if you're on Photoshop 22 or 23, 24, whatever, you'll be able to follow along with pretty much most of the course. Yeah. A lot of it's amazing really that, you know, there are some new features that are amazing, but, and Raquel, you can probably attest to this, some of the features that give the best results are the simple tools like the brush tool, using the right adjustment layer and just using them correctly rather than like crazy fancy techniques. It's just the right application of the basic tools and combining things together and the knowledge of knowing how to achieve certain effects. That's where the win is at. It's not like, you know, oh, they've introduced a new tool and boom, this is a game changer. You know, a lot of the new features in the last, you know, couple years, they've not been, well, they've not set my world on fire, put it that way. Oh, The Last Samurai. I love that movie. The Three Ninjas movie. It reminds me of their masks, but yours is more detailed, badass. Oh, thank you, Moosh. I've not seen the movie, no. The Three Ninjas. Oh, nice. Yeah, honestly, Marina, if you've got any questions about it, or you'd like a bit more information about what's in the modules or anything like that, or even if you were to start the course and then for whatever reason you couldn't continue because your version was too old or whatever, like, that's fine. I'll just refund your money. Honestly, don't worry about it. So there's no risk or anything. If you wanna have a go at it, you dive in and have a go. Could you add different textures to each area? Yes, 100%. So what I would probably do is, well, it depends. If I was going for like the whole mask to be made of like one material, let's say I wanted it to be like graphite or something, I would probably have the same material across it all. But maybe, I don't know, maybe, I don't know what they're made of normally. Maybe this mask, the teeth and the horns would be made of something like ivory or some sort of other material, porcelain, I got no idea, but no idea. So yeah, you would mask, if I was going to do that, I probably would mask, group the mask into different pieces. So I'd have all the main body and the face, that's like chunk one, apply a texture to it, and then the teeth and the horns, group that together, and then I could mask a different texture on that. That's how I do it the easy way. I just want to be able to learn. Ah, what sort of stuff are you interested in? I think the good thing as well with my courses is that if you get stuck, and I know many of you can attest to this, if you get stuck with something where you're working on a specific project, or you've gone through the lesson, you've tried the techniques, but you're like, I just can't get the result, I just can't get it, can you help me out? Like, I'm more than happy to help. Like, or I sometimes make videos just demonstrating it or opening people's projects and showing them the right tools and techniques, because it is one of those things that you can, even if you follow a lesson or a YouTube video and you do the same thing and you're like, why is it not working? Why am I not getting this result? at least you got me on standby to help you get past that. That's something that I really like doing. So, and a lot of the time as well, it's usually a problem that I've experienced at some point in the last 20 years. So, you know, I'd like to say sort of 9 times out of 10, if someone's got a problem or they're stuck with something, my brain's like, I remember that thing. Yep, do this, this, and this, and then it kind of gets you over that hump, so you don't kind of get stuck. Because you can go around in circles trying to look up things online, and why is this not working, and why is that tool grayed out, and why am I not getting the same result? Yeah, just message me. And don't forget to press the Alt key. Absolutely. Adobe Max end of October. Ooh. Oh my goodness, that's snuck up. That's snuck up, hasn't it?
What's that?
Adobe Max. That's like the end of October.
Oh my God.
I gotta be honest, at this point, I don't want any new features. I just want the existing features to be refined, to be improved, to be made better, more user-friendly. I don't want any more AI features. I want actual core features for pro users, and I want bugs to be fixed. I don't want any new bugs to pop up with the new release. I just want everything to be tightened. The current tool set is great. It's brilliant. It's fine. Just refine it, make it easier, more seamless. That's all I want. Your opinions about the upcoming designer recession in 2026? Not something I've heard of. You know. I think generally, you know, the world and things are always changing. You just adapt and evolve, or you don't. And let's be honest, who knows what's going to happen? Like, look at NFTs. Look at how quick NFTs were all the rage, and then who's talking about NFTs anymore? Nobody. So, I don't know. That was pretty interesting. Toby has an unending book collection. I think we might be scheduled for a recession. I mean, I gotta be honest, I'm not even thinking about a designer recession. I'm just looking at the world and going, the whole fucking world's on fire. Maybe let's put this out first. Maybe let's put the fire out. Sort the bloody planet out. Sort out what the hell's going on with all the craziness, and then we'll schedule in our designer recession. That sounds like a good idea. Oh, interesting. Okay, maybe I'll check that out. Yeah, literally. That's it. The whole world's a dumpster and we are just burning. Oh, goodness me. Oh. Right, I'm going to try and forage some food. Maybe go outside and... I was going to say hunt a squirrel, but there's no way I could eat a squirrel. I know. I wouldn't want to eat a squirrel. I don't know why I say these things sometimes. What?
Do you remember Walkers used to do weird flavoured crisps and they did squirrel flavour ones?
No.
Yep.
Squirrel flavour crisp?
Yeah.
Has anyone else heard of that?
Walkers. Like Lay's. Walkers. They did squirrel flavoured crisps.
Squirrel flavoured crisps?
Yep. Along with like
God.
chip shop curries.
No, chip shop curry.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It was around about that same time.
Well, there's a big difference between chip shop curry and squirrel. I'm not on board with squirrel flavoured crisps.
They were okay though.
Did it have a squirrel on the package and they were okay? You savage.
They didn't taste, well, I don't know what's
They didn't taste of squirrel. She does
It
though.
tasted like chicken.
She's definitely eating a squirrel. Right. Food time. Cool. Yeah, thank you for everyone for joining. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always. Interesting hairstyle. Oh, no. Oh, I mean, yeah, that does suck. That does suck, Raquel. But I think as well, and you know, the world might appear like a dumpster, but the good thing is you can, and all of us can, turn it off. We can turn off social media, we can turn off the news, we can turn all of it off. And actually, when you focus on just what is in front of us, it's all right. All the bullshit goes away. It all goes away.
Your own life beautiful. Yeah.
Okay.
You are beautiful. People around you that you love are beautiful.
It's this thing. It's this flipping thing.
Yeah.
Not her. It's her fault. You are the problem. Log out, delete all the apps off the phone, hit the log out button, turn off the TV, turn off the news,
And
go
join
out,
the Dansky stream.
go outside and join the Oh, yeah. It's amazing how much of it actually just goes away. If we have recession in design world, I'm gonna go back in farms working with Mumu. Matthew.
Matthew.
Yeah, life goes on.
Life goes on.
You're just gonna sing everything I'm gonna say.
Everything you're gonna say.
Sing the
I
you
stand unshaken.
no that are you do the hanging tree. Come on.
Are you coming to the tree where they strung up a man? They say who murdered 3. Strange things did happen here. No stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree. Are you coming to the tree? Yeah.
There we go. Thank you for that. Wow, that was amazing. That was actually legit fantastic. Poppy doesn't sing often in front of people, so that was a treat. I didn't expect that to happen.
La 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 la.
La 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 la. Goodness, my eyesight is so bad. Yeah, she's got
Thank
she's
you.
she's got
Put a ring on it.
she's got an incredible voice. Absolutely incredible. She's also got a SoundCloud. You can go and find it.
No.
Right. Anyway, sorry, that was my villainous laugh. Right, have an amazing... Wait, where are we? Thursday. Yeah, have an amazing weekend. And we will see you... What are you doing? she's gone mad now. She's spinning around. And yeah, we'll catch you next week. See you later. Bye. Oh, no. Where's the... There we go. Check out the courses. With this ultimate course bundle, you'll gain the skills I've mastered over 2 decades as a professional designer. Something silly? I would never do anything of the sort. Have the trailer again.